What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another FPL Seal video. Today we're going to be going through Aston Villa and what we could expect under Unai Emery. Now if you do enjoy today's video, please consider liking and subscribing. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. Please do help me get there. Like the video, subscribe, it all helps. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So, who is Unai Emery? I don't think I need to introduce him, so we're not going to go like super deep into Unai Emery. But his former teams that he has coached are Arsenal, Villarreal, PSG and Sevilla. There are a few others, but those are the main ones. And now, of course, Aston Villa are his current team. Now, he is a very defensive coach, as we have seen at PSG. He was way too defensive. He won a couple of titles with them, of course, trophies. But it wasn't enough. He wasn't playing attractive football. Same with Arsenal. I mean, he had some good results, some good games, but he just wasn't playing attractive football. And in the end, boring football, bad results. You don't get a lot of patience. Villarreal, he got great success. Also at Sevilla, he got great success. Winning the Europa League with both teams and only failed to win the Europa League with Arsenal. He has had great success at like smaller clubs. Villarreal and Sevilla are big clubs and they're great clubs, but in their divisions, in Spain, they are smaller teams, like more of a mid-table Champions League fighting sides. So this might be a match made in heaven for Unai Emery to come back to England and take charge of this Aston Villa team. But what are his preferred formations? As you can see on the screen, I've laid down 4-4-2 and 4-1-4-1. Now at Villarreal, he played a 4-1-4-1, 4-4-2 hybrid, sometimes even putting into a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 sort of formation. He is very fluid in his formation, and I think he'll just adapt it to the team. I mean, at Arsenal, you could see signs of a 4-1-4-1, 4-4-2 and, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. These are the main two that he was using at Villarreal, and I'm expecting similar formations at Aston Villa, but we'll get into that later. Now here is a lineup from the UTV podcast. This is how they predict that Unai Emery will line up. Now this is a photo taken from the website, and if you want to check them out, then go right ahead. You can see the UTV podcast, just check them out, Twitter, YouTube, their website, any of it. But this is how they expect the team to line up. They expect Unai Emery to be playing with a 4-4-2 system with a double pivot of Douglas Luiz and Boubacar Kamara, with Leon Bailey being that right winger, Emiliano Buendia or Ollie Watkins being that left winger, and the other one being that second striker, while Danny Ings being the main forward. Now, they're expecting to keep the same defensive line that they have been keeping. Like, they think Ashley Young has been playing such good football, and that's where he's going to stay in the team. I'll get into my thoughts on that later in the video. Matty Cash, of course, they're expecting him to be more attacking than Ashley Young, because he is a right-footed right back, while Ashley Young is a right-footed left back. They expect to keep Emiliano Martinez in the goal. I think, personally, there is a risk going with Aston Villa. If you go for Aston Villa, you do so knowing that the January window is coming up, and what we usually see, Aston Villa is a relatively wealthy club. They can go out there and buy players like they did with Emiliano Buendia and Ollie Watkins. They can go out there to buy some decent names. So I'm expecting them to invest in January. I don't think Unai Emery came into this club and they were just handed in the squad and said, this is what you're going to use. He probably went in there and said, I want to buy a couple of players in January and then next summer and build up. And they are going to back him. So some of these players might not be there. At the end of January, some of them might not be in the starting 11. Some might be on the bench, or some might have left already. So do keep that in mind if you're going with them. But I personally think you have to wait until after the World Cup to at least start looking at them. But who should we be looking at? Now the defense, I'm expecting us to look at their fullbacks. I mean, there are three players who come into mind. Cash, Ashley Young, and Luca Dean, the FPL troll. Yes, he might be back on our wish list. I'll get into that a bit later. In the attack, I'm expecting us to have to look at Leon Bailey, Emiliano Buendia, and Danny Ings. Yes, you could put Ollie Watkins in there as well, but I think we have to kind of see where he lines up. Because he is a forward, and if he's lining up on the flank, I'm not tempted. But if he is going to be playing as that main striker and being that main route to goal, he might be a diamond in the rough for us. So here I've put together the lineup in the tactical board that you saw from my Nottingham Forest, Fulham and Bournemouth tactic videos. Now, I have lined up with Ollie Watkins on the left flank because this is sort of a 4-3-3 formation, which is sort of what I'm expecting. I'm not a Villa fan, so I don't know if this is going to be the thing that's going to happen. And this could be a 4-2-3-1 with where they could line up like this, a bit more like this. But I just think it suits Buendia better to be here in the middle of the pitch. Watkins did play left wing at Brentford. Leon Bailey has been playing right wing, and Ings has been the solo striker in many teams. But what I'm expecting to happen, this could be one of those solutions. What could also happen if we go with the 4-4-2 formation, like the sort of 4-4-2 formation that the Villa fans are expecting, then we're looking at Buendia probably cutting in while attacking, Ollie Watkins going out a little bit further wide, and Ings playing the advanced striker role, Bailey possibly going in a little bit while Cash goes in the overlap. Now, the reason I think Ashley Young might not keep his place in the team is because usually when a manager has a left winger who likes to shoot on his right foot, likes to cut inside, and then has a right winger who likes to cut inside as well, usually you want to have a left-footed left back and a right-footed right back to do the overlaps to keep the width. If you have Ollie Watkins cutting inside, and then you have Ashley Young also trying to cut inside, or having to get the ball here and then having to fix himself to be able to cross the ball, that's not going to work. That takes the sting out of your attack. It limits your options. So I'm expecting that Luca Dean might very well come in. Yes, I think he's been very poor. I think Villa fans have been talking about how he is a very poor player and has played very badly, while Ashley Young has done really well. And that might be a huge factor. But I think Unai Emery, much like every other manager, comes in there thinking, okay, I have this team, everyone gets a clean slate. Yes, you've been poor, but again, you all start on a 0 for me. You have to earn the place in the team. And I think that might be a lifeline for Luca Dean. Now, out of the double pivot with Kamara and Lewis, maybe not an FPL-wise thing that you want to think about, but if you're going for either one of those for some reason, then Douglas Lewis is your guy. I think he's going to be more attacking. The Villa fans do think so too. Kamara is more defensive, and he might actually drop between the centre backs during the build-up to allow the full backs to push up. Now that might be something we have to keep an eye on, and that would also allow Buendia to come in to that playmaker role, Watkins to come in more central, and it would also allow Bailey to come in more central. The thing that I want you guys to notice when we think about if they play a 4-4-2 formation, so if they play a 4-4-2 formation like this, then I would expect, and the Villa fans do expect this as well, that the front four sort of, Buendia, Watkins, Ings and Bailey are all going to be very fluid. That Ings might roam to the right hand side, Watkins might roam to the left, or Buendia depending on who they are, and the others might cut inside and kind of become the central strikers. Now, we saw evidence of this at Villarreal, that the left-hand side of that side was more defensive, while the right-hand side with Pinto, if I remember the name correctly, Jeremy Pino, I think his name is, he was very much offensive on the right wing, and cut inside was very attractive in that way, and we could see Bailey then basically playing a sort of striker right wing role, with Matty Cash, as the Villa fans expect, being much more attacking than your left back. So that would make Bailey a huge appealing option at only 4.6 million in FPL. Now during build-up play, what I'm expecting to see happen, they're going to drop down like everyone does. Kamara's going to drop down, Luis is going to be a bit more up, Buendia is going to come inside, Young is going to push up, Cash is going to push up like this, and you're going to have a bit of Bailey, Ings, Watkins, kind of this sort of pressure. So if the other team is trying to pressure you, you're going to have to push far more players up to be able to actually win the ball up high. And then also they're going to have to block these guys, and you're giving this gives you so many choices for Martinez and just to play out from the back, and it also kind of puts the left back or the midfielders, just kind of puts the opponent into, like, it makes him make a decision because if he takes on Cash, then Bailey and Ings can kind of hone in on that one centre back. But if he decides to go for Bailey, then Cash is free to roam into space, and that leaves the left winger trying to decide, do I press on Konsa or do I go here? So these are just some of my thoughts on the team. Now just to end the video, what am I expecting? Just to sum it up for you guys, I'm expecting Ollie Watkins to be sort of a striker left winger in that sort of role. I'm expecting Ings to be the main attacking outlet. Similar, I think they're going to be operating similarly to Aubameyang and Lacazette. We might not see the two of them together in the team all the time, but when we do, I'm expecting to see Ings in that Lacazette role, more of trying to like be in the box as a poacher, not really that mobile player. While Ollie Watkins is going to be the Aubameyang type, who's going to be more mobile, moving on to the left, trying to receive the ball and cutting in. Now Buendia, I'm expecting to be on the left wing or the cam role, where he's going to be more of a playmaker. Bailey, again, like I said, might be the one to go with. Right winger, striker, sort of guy. Lewis is going to be more attacking than Kamara. Digne might come in for Young. That's what I'm expecting, because I think he'll want that left foot of Digne instead of the right foot of Young in that left back position. And then I am expecting Cash to be very secure for minutes, while I'm expecting that Digne and Young might rotate a bit. Take this all with a pinch of salt, guys. I think watch the first 3 games. Yes, okay, the Newcastle game this weekend, Emery's not going to be in charge of that, so maybe not that much time to get any ideas of how they're going to set up under him. But then they have Man United and Brighton, so those 2 games might be huge for us to see how Emery lines up, and maybe even give us food for thought during the World Cup on our wild card. Now, I'm very tempted. I have my eyes on Bailey as the 5th midfielder in my lineup, although I might go 5 in midfield on the wildcard. More on that later in a more for wildcard video. Personally, I think we should just take this with a pinch of salt. This is all just what we're all just guessing. The Villa fans are guessing. I'm guessing. I mean, I think Unai Emery adapts his tactics to every team, to every squad he has, like a good manager would do. And then again, in January, we don't know what's going to happen. Aston Villa might go all out and buy new players. So do keep that in mind when you're thinking about going with Aston Villa. And if you are thinking about going with Aston Villa, do consider leave it in the comments. Tell me who you're thinking about going with from Aston Villa in FPL. And if you're not into FPL, tell me what you thought of the video. But that's gonna do it for today, guys. I hope you liked the video. I hope you subscribe to the channel. But I'm gonna see you in the next one. Goodbye.